Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to episode number 2 of the Brotherhood of the Force. My name is Darth Vicious, and this is my podcast. Today, we are discussing my Star Wars fandom. So, we are going to break this thing down into 5 sections. To start, I'm going to list my top 5 favorite canon novels in the new canon. Also, in section 2 will be my top five favorite canon characters. In section 3, I will be giving a list of Star Wars Anthology films that I would love to see made. In section 4, I will discuss my 5 favorite Star Wars games. And in that was section 4, my bad. And in section 5, I will discuss characters I would like to see make their way back into the canon in some fashion. So, with that in mind, I'll be opening up to questions on Twitter. Of course, my Twitter handle is @Allen, spelled ALLEN 216 Dempsey, DEMPSEY. If you have any questions while I am working on each section, of course, don't hesitate to ask them on Twitter, and I will answer them. Now, as you know, the Star Wars canon has been rebooted by Disney and Lucasfilm. The old expanded universe is no longer canon. That has been rebranded as Legends. I have been reading the new novels with varied levels of enjoyment. What are my top 5 favorite? I will list them from least favorite to favorite of my top 5. I will also add annotations to this video after it's done processing so you can see my reviews of each canon novel. My number 5 favorite is Star Wars Tarkin by James Luceno. Now, I'm a big fan of James Luceno, so putting him in my top 5 is not doing him any lack of justice. James Tarkin Grand Moff Williff Tarkin has always been a favorite character of mine, so having a novel about him is absolutely amazing. And James Luceno writing that book, absolutely amazing as well. That being said, there are 4 novels that I like more than that. Can't wait for the new canon novels that are coming out next year, including Empire's End by Chuck Wendig, the Thrawn novel by Timothy Zahn, as well as some of the novels that are coming out later this year. Having said that, my number 4 favorite is Star Wars Aftermath Life Debt by Chuck Wendig. Now, for those of you who don't know this, Chuck Wendig wrote Aftermath, which I didn't love. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest novel, but Aftermath Life Debt really raised the bar for the Aftermath trilogy. Still wasn't my top 3 favorites, so having said that, we'll move on to number 3. That one was Star Wars Battlefront Twilight Company by Alexander Freed. And I love this book because it was, well, a war book, basically. And I like that because we got Rogue One coming out in December, and that's going to be a war film. So reading at Battlefront Twilight Company really helped me to gather the sense of war in a galaxy far, far away. Number 2 is Star Wars Bloodline by Claudia Gray. And this, of course, was set 6 years before The Force Awakens. And Claudia Gray is definitely one of my favorite authors in the new Star Wars canon. Bloodline was an amazing book that centered around Leia and the trouble she's having with the Senate and the First Order, and of course, the revelation that Darth Vader was her father. Now, having said that, it still isn't my favorite book. Definitely top 2. And it was a great book, but my number 1 favorite, also by Claudia Gray, Star Wars Lost Stars. That book was amazing. It wove around the original trilogy. Excuse me. Like I said, wove around the original trilogy and ended with the Battle of Jakku. Of course, there wasn't really much detail on the Battle of Jakku in the book. That's probably going to be covered in Empire's End by Chuck Wendig. But just the characters in the book, you could actually get invested in emotionally. And it was just amazing. Now, with that in mind, make sure to click the annotations in this video once they are up to get my reviews of each of those 5 books. And if you have read them and you enjoyed them, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. And before I move on, okay, time to move on. I was just checking for any questions. Up next, my top 5 favorite canon characters, including the return, or no, there are a lot of canon characters, including the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So many awesome characters in the current canon of Star Wars that it's hard to pick 5 that are my absolute favorite. I have thought long and hard on this topic. My number 5 favorite is Kylo Ren. Kylo is a new villain who is still being developed. His anger is extremely creepy, and he is just extremely powerful to the point where he can freeze blaster bolts in midair. He can freeze people in place using the Force. Just amazing stuff. His Force stasis ability is by far one of the most powerful I've seen in the Star Wars universe, and that is just freaking amazing. He can use the Force to rip information from people's minds, and not a lot of people can break through a strong Force field and rip information from a person's brain. My number 4 favorite, Grand Moff Tarkin. Willow is a brilliant strategist who viciously attacks lawlessness and disorder. He is extremely intelligent, but he is also trained in the wild, as was laid out in the book Tarkin on the Carrion Plateau. He's an excellent leader and a very good tactician. My number 3 favorite is Darth Maul. Darth Maul, before Rebels, was an incredibly powerful individual who had the coolest looking lightsaber in canon with the dual-bladed lightsaber. He is the first Sith Lord we meet in the ill-received prequel trilogy, which sucks. Darth Maul should have been enough to save the prequels, but it wasn't. His lightsaber was badass. His physical appearance with the red skin and black markings or black tattoos, absolutely awesome. And he was a badass fighter as well. Of course, Ray Park had a lot to do with that because he's just a badass martial artist. And his development in the Clone Wars and Rebels has been amazing. Just seeing his motivations from the Clone Wars and now in Rebels, he wants to get his own apprentice so he can take over the galaxy and bring down the Emperor. Now, my number 2 favorite is Finn. Finn is a new hero, still in development. Played by John Boyega. John Boyega is an amazing actor, and I look forward to seeing what he does with this character. Star Wars Episode 9 or 8 and 9, and possibly 10, 11, and 12. But anyway, Finn has shown his willingness to fight evil after witnessing it as a member of the perpetrator's side. He went against his training as a First Order stormtrooper, left the First Order, and helped the Resistance destroy Starkiller Base. Like I said, I look forward to seeing his development as the sequel trilogy progresses, and even into the possible next trilogy. So, having said that, my number 1 favorite is Luke Skywalker. Luke is the prototypical hero. He faces temptations to abandon his heroic journey only to defeat them. The first time he defeated his temptation, it cost him his biological right hand, and of course, the lightsaber that was once wielded by his father. Goes back, he gets his artificial hand, goes back to finish his training as a Jedi, only for Yoda to pass away on him. And then he went to confront Darth Vader and Darth Sidious at Endor. Got into a heated duel with his father. And of course, disarmed his father at the Emperor's goading to kill his father and take his place. Luke saw he was going down that path and threw aside his lightsaber and said, "No, you have failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me." This, of course, almost cost him his life, but Darth Vader, now redeemed as Anakin Skywalker, put any hopes to killing off Luke. As the story continues going forward, I look forward to seeing his legacy of heroism take root in the form of a new Jedi Order, which I know there's already been one attempt in the storyline, and it failed, but I'd like to see it happen. Hell, we've got at least 2 more films with Mark Hamill, so it still has a chance to happen. That in mind, I'll open it up to questions now. So if there's anything you want to know about canon characters and my feelings on them, of course, tweet at me and I will answer the questions on air. I will give you guys a few minutes to come up with questions. And of course, if you're not watching this live but you happen to watch it later, there's a top 5 list of canon characters that you like. Leave them in the comments section below. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer as soon as I see those comments. Coming up, anthology films I would like to see made. As you know, Disney and Lucasfilm are coming out with Star Wars anthology films. First one to be released is going to be Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. This film is coming out in December. Han Solo is coming out in 2 years, and there is a third untitled film due out in 2020. There are others being planned. I know that for a fact because Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, and Pablo Hidalgo have said that there's going to be one new Star Wars film every year going forward. There are some I would like to see made personally, and I know everybody has their list of films that they would like to see. I have 10 most wanted anthology films. Number 10 on this list is Count Dooku. I would like to see his training under Grandmaster Yoda. That would be amazing. And then I would like to see his training of Qui-Gon Jinn. Because Qui-Gon Jinn, everybody hates on the prequels, but Qui-Gon Jinn was amazing. Number 9 is Obi-Wan Kenobi. The reason I say Obi-Wan is because he was featured in some part in all 6 of the prequel and original trilogy movies. And, I mean, what more is there to tell them? Maybe his time on Tatooine before A New Hope and after Revenge of the Sith. I mean, we already know what's going to end up happening to him anyway. He's going to meet Luke. He's going to start him on his heroic journey. He's going to die in the Death Star and then guide Luke from the ethereal plane of the Force, I guess you would call it. I think it would be kind of cool to see his training on Tatooine to become a Force ghost, see him watching over Luke, and see if he actually does anything for the rebellion in the early years. Number 8 on this list is the Battle of Jakku. I would love to see how the Battle of Jakku happened, as mentioned in Star Wars Lost Stars, and I know they're going to feature it. They are going to feature it in the new Star Wars Battlefront if they aren't already. I'm not sure if that DLC ever came out or if it's still on its way out. And from what I'm guessing after reading Aftermath like that, the battle is going to be heavily featured in Star Wars Aftermath Empire's End. At least that is also a major speculation. So with that in mind, I would love to see that played out on the big screen. After all, they got Rogue One. It's a war film. Why not have another one to end the Galactic Civil War? Alright. Number 7 on this list is the Old Republic. It would be cool to see a trilogy of films centered around characters like Darth Malgus, Steel Shan, Revan, Darth Malak, Bastila Shan, Darth Bane, and others. It'd be cool to see that time period. And this would be cool because Big Sith Order versus Big Jedi Order, Sith Empire versus the Old Republic would just make for some interesting films, especially as a trilogy. Number 6 on this list is Darth Plagueis. I know Darth Plagueis is a canon character. He's mentioned in Star Wars Episode 3, but I would just love to see Plagueis train under his master Darth Tenebris and then train his apprentice Darth Sidious. A movie like this would help validate Revenge of the Sith on so many levels. Number 5 on this list is Luke Skywalker. I'd love to see his adventures after Return of the Jedi and before The Force Awakens. I mean, they really don't say much about him in the canon novels post Return of the Jedi. So it'd just be cool for them to fill in that gap with a live action film. Maybe even a trilogy if necessary, where you have 3 different actors playing him at 3 different ages, ending with Mark Hamill playing him going into The Force Awakens. I would love to see his training of his nephew, Kylo Ren. I would love to see the places he visited between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. because in Force Awakens he has that map where he draws out his outline to where he's headed. So I think that would be really cool. Number 4 on this list is Anakin Skywalker. I know, that's going to be a downer. But I would love to see the early stages of his training between the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones under Obi-Wan Kenobi. It would be cool to see some of his exploits between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith played out on the big screen in live action. It would be cool to see this, like I said, in live action. This would be cool to see as 2 films. Number 3 on this list is Yoda. Yoda, of course, is one of my all-time favorite characters in Star Wars. The short little shit who's a complete badass and extremely powerful with the Force. So why not turn him into a film? I would love to see his Jedi training. It'd be cool to see his role in the timeline of the Old Republic because, as you know, he's 900 years old. And it would be cool to see how he became the high-ranking Jedi that he became in the saga films. It would just really round out his story in such a great way. Number 2 on this list is Boba Fett. I know. You got a lot of him, or you got quite a bit of him in the original trilogy and a little bit of him in the prequels. But I would love to see his training as a bounty hunter from after the time his father passed away, or was killed rather. And I would love to see his adventures played out in live action. That would be awesome, even if they are limited to a certain time period. So, aka maybe going from just after Attack of the Clones to maybe up to Revenge of the Sith or slightly after. But to see that played out in live action and maybe have 2 different actors play him, a young and then an old, would be awesome. And number 1 on this list is Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka, I really didn't like her in the Clone Wars film. Started to really like her in the Clone Wars series and have really gotten to adore her in Rebels. Ashley Eckstein, I swear she is an amazing actress, and I don't care what anybody says. Voice actors are just as talented as on-screen actors. Anyway, I would love to see her adventures between the Clone Wars and Rebels. It'd be cool to see what her life was like after she left the Jedi Order just before Episode 3. It'd be amazing to see what she did during the rise of the Empire that made her such a valuable asset to the rebellion, especially in the early going. And it would be kind of cool just to see Ahsoka in action on the big screen, because she never really got that chance, especially not in live action. The animation really didn't do her much justice either. With that in mind, if there are any anthology films you would like to see, leave those in the comment section below. And if there are any anthology films you would like to direct or write, of course, you can leave those in the comment section. Also, if you're watching this live and if you would like to know what anthology films I would like to write or direct, of course, you can tweet those questions at me now. I've got my Twitter feed open. If you aren't watching this live, of course, you can leave those same questions in the comments below. I will answer them as soon as I see my comments. Now we're on to section 4. And this is, of course, my favorite Star Wars games, and this is a top 5 list. So, with that in mind, everyone has their favorite Star Wars games. I am no different. In this section, I will list my 5 favorite Star Wars games. Number 5 on this list is the original Star Wars Battlefront that came out on Xbox and PlayStation 2. Love the idea of first-person shooters set in the Star Wars universe. This game was a first-person shooters because it was set in a galaxy far, far away. And, of course, this game spawned Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was out on PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and the new Star Wars Battlefront. However, this game was limited to a, how do I word this? Short galactic conquest, with each era featured twice, with 2 different playable factions each, of course, with the differing storylines. Also, there was no space combat like in Star Wars Battlefront 2. The starfighters you used, you were actually flying in atmosphere. Number 4 on this list is Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I love this game because it was just amazing. The character of Starkiller was insanely powerful, and it had new ways of using the Force. Also, controlling Starkiller and allowing him to make the decisions he made was just absolutely awesome. I cannot say enough how awesome Sam Witwer was voicing the character, and of course, giving his likeness to the character. Sam Witwer is an amazing actor. He's doing the voices for Darth Maul and Darth Sidious in Rebels, and I believe he did the same in Star Wars The Clone Wars. So I love his acting style, and I love his, he can do 2 characters per show. Number 3 on this list is Star Wars Starfighter. I've always been a sucker for games where you can fly ships, whether it was the Ace Combat series or the Blazing Angels series or Heroes of the Pacific, and now Star Wars Starfighter. I never played Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. I wanted to, I just never was able to find it. Oh, back to The Force Unleashed. I have not played The Force Unleashed 2, so I have nothing to go by on that game. But with Star Wars Starfighter, I love being able to fly starfighters in a game. It was cool to be able to execute missions from a cockpit in the Star Wars universe. Like I said, I've played Ace Combat, I've played the Heroes of the Pacific, the Blazing Angels series. Oh, I've also played Tom Clancy's Hawks. So, yeah, I love those kinds of games. Number 2 on this list is Star Wars Battlefront 2. This game combined the best parts of Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Starfighter into one game. Especially like in campaign mode, you get space missions, you get planet side missions, and then of course in Galactic Conquest, you get the fleet battles as well as the on-planet battles. So being able to fight on the ground and in space in Battlefront 2 was amazing. The graphics were also amazing in Battlefront 2. And the Rise of the Empire campaign mode in Star Wars Battlefront 2 was so much more engaging than the original Battlefront campaign on so many levels. This leads up to number 1 on this list, and it is the MMORPG, Star Wars, The Old Republic. Storylines in this game are absolutely amazing. You're able to customize your character in name, appearance, race, path, and I mean, just the graphics are amazing, and the fact that it is just so immersive, and you could actually work with other players online or fight against them is just awesome. If you have a favorite Star Wars game, of course, leave in the comment section below. If you have any other questions about the games that I listed, of course, you can tweet them at me now. I will answer them on air, or you can leave those in the comment section below, and I will answer them directly to you. Also, like I said, if you have 5 favorite games that you would like, or that you like, you can leave those in the comment section below. I'll let you know I haven't played the new Battlefront yet. I don't have the money to buy it. I don't have Xbox Live, and I don't have the money to buy the DLCs, so that game would be very limited for me. And now we get to the final section. This is 5 Legends characters that I would like to see return to canon. Everyone, especially Star Wars Legends junkies, has characters they would like to see come back to canon. I am no different. I have my list of 5 characters that I would like to see return to canon. Number 5 on this list is Darth Tenebris. Refer back to my list of Anthology films for this one. Darth Tenebris, of course, was the master of Darth Plagueis, who was looking for a way to gain immortality. Of course, Plagueis, after learning that from Tenebris, killed him and started to train Darth Sidious. I would love to see Tenebris in a movie trying to gain immortality while training Darth Plagueis, training him the information, and then getting off. Number 4 on this list is Revan. Again, refer back to my list of Anthology films for this one. Revan, of course, a favorite character of those who like the Old Republic. He was a Jedi who turned to the dark side, only to be captured by the Jedi, have his mind wiped, become a Jedi again, and then eventually die with his body and his spirit being ripped in half, with the dark side of him remaining in the physical world, the light side of him being in the spirit world, and of course eventually being rejoined and him becoming one with the Force. Incredibly powerful character, fan favorite. It would just be cool to see him brought back into canon in some way, some form, some fashion. So, Pablo Hidalgo, I'm putting it to you to bring Revan back to canon, as well as Darth Tenebris. Number 3 on this list is Kyle Katarn. Kyle Katarn seems to be the influence for the character of Finn to a certain degree. Of course, Kyle Katarn in Legends was a stormtrooper who had Force abilities and left the Empire, met Luke, became a Jedi, and eventually became a Jedi Battlemaster. Finn, the jury's still out on him if he has latent Force abilities and if he's going to become a Jedi. In my opinion, I think it would be really, really, really cool if he did, but again, that remains to be seen. Kyle Katarn, on the other hand, because of the story of him being Force sensitive and becoming a Jedi, it would just be cool to see him come into canon, especially now that Han is dead. We need another hero. Kyle Katarn could be just that, and of course Lando as well. But Lando's already a canon character, so he's off this list. Number 2 on this list is Mara Jade. Mara Jade in Legends was a Jedi who at one time was an Emperor's hand. It would be cool to see her return to canon, even if not in her original arc, becoming Luke's wife and the mother of Luke's child. Mara Jade was an amazing character. Bringing her back to canon would just be absolutely awesome. And of course, number 1 on this list is Darth Malak. Refer back to my list of anthology films for this one, as well as my thoughts on Revan, because Revan and Darth Malak have a shared history. They were both Jedi who turned to the dark side, only this time Malak didn't return to the light and was eventually killed. If you have a character in mind, of course, leave him or her in the comment section below, or you can tweet them at me. I'm interested to know who you would like to see back in the Star Wars canon. So, with that in mind, I want to thank everyone who watched this live. Make sure to subscribe to know when I plan another The Brotherhood of the Force episode. It's either going to be next Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, you will know when I upload other videos. Those of you who have watched my live streams, watched my other videos, thanks for the support. You Star Wars fans are the reason I do this. You make my time on YouTube very worthwhile. This has been Darth Vicious, bringing you episode 2 of The Brotherhood of the Force. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to be notified of updates to the channel. Also, make sure to leave a like to support the channel. Tell your friends about this channel and share this video on social media. May the dark side of the Force guide you and be with you always. Be on the lookout for my next canon novel review for Star Wars A New Dawn, coming in the next few days. Another episode of What If Star Wars Explained in the works as well. For now, though, farewell, YouTube.